Section 52 of Through Fairy Halls of My Book House. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Dion Gines. Through Fairy Halls of My Book House, edited by Olive Beaupre Miller. The Adventures of Yehl and the Beaming Maiden, and Alaskan Legend. All Alaska was once in a dim gray twilight. There was neither sun, moon, nor stars in the sky. In those days there lived in Alaska a proud and powerful chief named Yehl. On the totem pole before his lodge was carved the figure of the raven. On his deer horn spoons was carved the raven. Into his blankets was woven the raven. On his canoes was painted the raven. Yehl is of the Raven clan. Raven keeps guard over Yehl, said the chief. But Yehl was of a dark and stormy mood, dark as the midnight sky. Near him lived Nuchagak, his sister, and often she suffered beneath his anger. Before her lodge, too, rose the totem pole of the raven. Raven keeps guard over Quiet One, said Nuchagak, not over Stormy One that always shrieks, I, I, I. Now Yehl would have none of Nuchagak in his lodge, and so there dwelt no woman. One dim gray day up rose Yehl and went far, far into the Northland. There in the midst of the ice and snow he saw a maiden of dazzling beauty, more beautiful than anything man had ever beheld before. When she smiled, her face beamed and light streamed forth on all about. Maiden, go back with Yehl to his lodge, cried the chief. So the maiden gave him her hand and glided along by his side. When they were come to his home, Yehl gave her rich furs to lie on and many precious blankets. He never asked her to make the fire or do the work of woman, but though he loaded her with gifts, he wished to keep her all to himself. Keep your smiles alone for Yehl, he cried. Nay, replied the maiden, I was not made to make happy one only. I smile on all alike. I give my love to all. Then was Yehl as the storm cloud. Smile on any other, he roared, and Yehl buries you deep, where none shall have joy of your beaming. Ah, the maiden made answer, bury me as deep as you like. You will only shut yourself out from my smile. You can never quench my beaming. I shall go on smiling forever. Then went Yehl and fetched 8 small redbirds. He whispered to them, stand guard over this rebellious maid, while Yehl goes out hunting. Thus bids thee the great Yehl. And he fastened the door of his lodge from without, and strode away into the forest. No sooner was he gone than the maiden rose and went to the door. Lo! as she beamed on the solid wood, a little opening appeared. She leaned her head through the opening and smiled on all who passed, and all on whom she smiled felt warmed and cheered and strengthened. We bloom as the young grass, they cried, as the grass when the snow is gone. Then the little redbirds made great noise and clamor. Out they flew by the hole in the roof, through which the smoke escaped from the hearth, off and away to tell Yehl. Thundering with anger, his eyes flashing lightnings, back came Yehl. He seized the beautiful maiden and thrust her into a great wooden chest. Then he forced down the lid, made fast the lock, and carried the chest away to a dark little inner room that no one was ever permitted to enter. There, said he, now that smile is hid where Yehl shares it with no man. Ah, but the world was dark, and in it was no joy at all for Yehl. All the people began to wail and lament. Never before was such darkness. Give her back to us, the maiden that beams, they cried. Yet Yehl would not relent and restore to them the maiden. Then came to Yehl Nuchagak, his sister. Set her free, the maiden, said Nuchagak. On your totem pole the raven frowns at the deed that Yehl has done. Up rose Yehl like a whirlwind. He fell on his sister's lodge and razed it to the ground. The totem pole before her door he hacked to bits and cast the raven to the winds. "Chet'l cares not for the raven," he cried. "Chet'l does as he pleases. And you, little snarling fox, forth with you into the forests, and come no more back to Chet'l, lest he serve you as he did the maiden." In grief and sorrow, Nuschagak wandered down to the sea. As she stood there weeping, lo! a raven appeared before her. "Be not sad, good daughter," said the raven. "You shall have a child that will be greater than Chet'l. Train him up to be a man, and he will yet save you and the maid." So Nuschagak went away, built a rude lodge in the forest, and set up before it the totem pole of the raven. Soon there came to her a son. The child was beautiful and wonderful. In 10 days he had grown to the height of a man and mastered all the knowledge that belongs to manhood. Then the mother knew that there had come to her Yehl, Yehl, the ever-living one, who always was and always will be, who appears to men in whatsoever form is suited best to the need of the time. When Yehl had made Nuschagak a comfortable lodge, and gathered for her a goodly store of food, she sent him forth to face Chet'l. Straight to the great chief's lodge went Yehl. "I am your sister's son," said he. Then Chet'l saw that he was a goodly youth, and dared not do less than bid him welcome. But in his heart he said, "He knows the secret of the maid. I shall soon find means to be rid of him." When there came the dim gray dawn, that was all there was to the next day's light, he took Yehl in his canoe and paddled out to sea. "To fish for great fish," said Chet'l. Far, far out he went, till the shore had long faded from sight, and the waters lay black, of boundless depth, beneath their rocking keel. Then Chet'l overturned the canoe and plunged Yehl into the deep. "Let him find a lodge with the whales," cried he. "He is not welcome to Chet'l." And he righted his canoe and made his way back to shore. But Yehl dropped quietly to the bottom of the sea, walked safely over the smooth hard sand, and appeared at evening at the door of his uncle's lodge. "Ha!" muttered Chet'l. "Some whale must have borne him back to shore. Mayhap the whale is his totem, but there be other means to put him out of my way." The next day he took Yehl out into the forest. There in the midst of the deep, dark grove of cypress, spruce, and hemlock, set up high upon poles, it was hewn of a solid log, and had been burned with fire to hollow out the center. "Step into the canoe, son of my sister," said Chet'l, "and chip off the burnt wood about the sides to make the inside smooth." Yehl did as his uncle bade him, but while he was bent over at work, Chet'l sent a great log crashing down and pinned him in where he sat. "If whale be your totem," he jeered, "what can save you now?" No sooner than he was gone than Yehl reached out his arms. At that the canoe fell to pieces, and Yehl stepped forth from under the log. Then he picked up the different parts of the craft, put them together again, and finished it complete. That evening he appeared at the door of Chet'l's lodge, bearing the great canoe on his shoulder. Then Chet'l's tongue was dumb, but when the night was come, he crept up to the couch of skins whereon his nephew slumbered. "I shall have you yet!" cried he. Just as his hand was at the youth's throat, Yehl turned himself into a raven, slipped out of his grasp, and flew up into the sky. "Ah, he is the raven himself!" cried Chet'l, and he minded how he had cried out that he cared not for the raven, but would do what pleased himself. No use to contend with the raven, and he plunged off into the forest. Then came Yehl back to the lodge, and found his way to the darkened chamber. He groped about in the gloom until he came upon a chest. "Now," said he, "at last I shall set free the maid." Up came the lid beneath his grasp, but out of the chest rose no maid. Instead there flew forth a glistening flock of tiny white birds that darted up into the sky, and lo! they became the stars. Then Yehl groped about again till he once more fell upon something. He pulled up the lid of a second chest, but still no maid appeared. One great silver bird with pale gleaming wings soared up into the sky, and lo! it became the moon. "Yehl will not rest until he finds her," cried the youth, and he searched again till he found a third and last chest. Heavy was its lid, far heavier than the others. He forced it up but a little way, and a light shone forth through the crack, like the first faint rose of dawn. As he pulled it higher and higher, the light became dazzling gold, streamed forth in boundless splendor, and flooded all the room. Then up rose the smiling maiden. "Well done, Yehl," said she, and she floated in shimmering glory up to the sky. Behold, she was the sun. Then Yehl rejoiced, and Nuschagak rejoiced, and all the people on earth rejoiced. "It is gone, the cold and dark," they cried. "Light and warmth are come. Behold, we bloom again like grass when the snow is melted." As to Chet'l, when he saw the shining maid in the sky smiling on all the world, he went off and hid himself in a dark cave on Mount Edgecombe. There he became the Thunder Bird. He is still trying to shut up the sun and keep her from beaming. When he comes forth, the flapping of his great wings makes the thunder, and the flash of his eyes the lightning. But no matter what walls of clouds he builds up to shut in the sun, her smile always finds a way through them. And to this very day, from her place in the sky, she beams in gentle radiance on every one alike. End of section 52. Recording by Dion Gines, Salt Lake City, Utah.